All right, this thing has sat here enough. It's time to try to figure out what's the deal and see if we can get it to lift again or whatever we got to do. And we're going to get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver Man. This is the Rhino 404. And I'm not gonna lie, in the last video, I think some people were watching with their stupid goggles on because they obviously did not understand what was happening. I got a lot of comments about the battery was dead and you took the starter apart. Well, no. We had already been through, if you watched the video where I tried to load it, I had already done everything that you could possibly do without taking the starter off. Even hooking jumper cables directly to the starter, nothing happened. Hooking them directly to the battery, nothing happened. Taking the cables off of the starter and cleaning them up and sticking them back on, nothing happened. I took the jump pack, hooked it to the starter, nothing happened. Took the jump pack to the battery, nothing happened. I could get nothing out of this thing except clicking. For some reason, when I took the starter off of it, I could get it to turn here on the battery. And the only thing I can think is that maybe it had a bad spot or some corrosion, and by me taking it off, putting it on the battery, it was able to overcome that, because I think I actually hooked the jump pack, if I remember, right to the spinning part of the starter. So I got it to spin, and maybe that was my issue. Maybe it was in a dead spot or something. And then the next time I tried it with the solenoid, it worked perfectly. I don't know. It's one of those electrical mysteries that doesn't make sense to me, because I tried everything that I did before and it did nothing. So the moral of the story is, I guess, watch the whole video or the previous one before making yourself look dumb, leaving a comment where you don't understand what happened. But another possibility that I considered, and somebody did catch this, it has a gasket behind this starter. I don't get that. I don't know why it has that gasket. I put it back on. I can only assume that this starter is not the right starter for this tractor, but it works, because the holes are not the greatest. Like in the starter itself, they're kind of egged out to get it to fit. And another issue that it had that maybe I did not highlight in the video is, finally when I put it back in here, I put a washer there to pull this all tighter, because I think it's probably bad inside the solenoid and it's letting that post go in too far and it's losing connection with something. I don't know how it's made in there. I don't care. But by putting that washer on there, I was able to pull it a little bit tighter, and everything seems to be working fine. I just had it running again yesterday when I pulled it out of the way, or drove it out of the way, I should say, so that I could get that 550 through here and whatever else. Now, I got a whole box of books with this thing, and they aren't great. I mean, you know it's going to be a good book when they stuck a sticker over top of whatever it said and then wrote in there that that was, you know. So, these books leave a lot to be desired, because they're basically very poorly translated into English text. There's just not much good info in here. I find it kind of hard to look at even. It's like it's, I don't know. You can just tell, and when you start reading some of the sections, that, yeah, it's not organized very well. It's not translated very well. The diagrams leave a lot to be desired when they are there. I mean, we have the water thermometer, so that's good, you know? So what I'm looking for now, and I'm hoping we find, is I'm hoping we find something that tells us, you know, where there might be a hydraulic filter and where we might drain it and where we might fill it and stuff like that. I'm sure I could look at the tractor and kind of figure that out. You know, there's a fill plug on the transmission top and there's something there, but is that really a fill plug for hydraulics, or is that a, what I want to say, is that like just a cover or a plug covering, like on the Fiats, there's a spool under some that you can take out and clean. But just by guessing, looking at it, I would almost bet that the hydraulics are isolated from the rear end, because it looks to me like this line is coming up here. And why would it be doing that thing if it was going to draw from the transmission, you know? Because I think the other line comes up, I don't know if I can even see it now. Oh, I think it goes up over the, well, I just saw it a second ago. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's not what I'm thinking. So I saw that line back there, but that's not anything. That doesn't go anywhere. So I don't really understand that. If that's supposed to be a vent for the transmission. But what I'm getting at here is somewheres we got to have a suction line, and it does go that way. So it might pull from the, I don't know. That's what I want to try to find out with this book, if it will possibly tell us. Oh, there it goes. It goes down here. So I believe that it probably is a totally isolated system. So if we look at our diagram, okay, oil inlet. See, oil inlet, hydraulic lifter in front of the lift case, number 3. So would that mean that back here is somewhere where you fill this? See, another fun wrinkle is this seat is not the right seat for this tractor. That's something somebody has put on. So it could be covering something is what I'm getting at, you know? Looks like they left the plate of the old seat and, you know, reciprocating sawed it off and then bolted another seat to it, leaving sharp, jagged edges that will most certainly cut us. I do not see an oil inlet there, unless they are talking about the oil inlet being that in front of the seat, in front of the lift case. I bet that's what they mean. Oil inlet hydraulic lifter in front of the lift case, even though on the diagram it points to right back here in the back. So I don't know that this is going to really explain this to us, except maybe 15, oil drain pipe hydraulic lifter. I think I did see something like that. I'm betting that is that right there. Which would mean that the hydraulic system is isolated to that top portion. So that's okay. We'll take that loose. We'll drain out. We might take this plug out first and see if we can even see oil in there. I'm not saying that it's out of oil, but it wouldn't be the first time that somebody put oil in the wrong place thinking that they filled it and then find out it has no oil and that's all that's wrong with it. I would love for that to be the case, because it won't cost him very much and then I can be rid of it. And that is the most important thing. Inspect all lubricating oil in the crankshaft box. Sure. See, there's just a lot of text, and it's in such a large font. It just, I don't know. It makes it hard for me to read, but I never have been a fan of reading, so this is talking about all kinds of stuff. Like here we're talking about the battery level, and then the very next paragraph we start talking about greasing the kingpin in the front axle. Maintenance of tractor. Construction and maintenance of tractor. We want to find some section that tells us about hydraulics. Also, but not limited to the fun, is the fact that somebody has let these books get wet. So they're very stuck to each other, which don't impress me much. Just like what's her face, Shania Twain said, maybe. That don't impress me much. There's some stuff that explains our power takeoff that we struggled to understand the other day when we were doing it. And yeah, it's nighttime, so I'm probably going to have to quit. Lifter assembly, yes. Okay. It doesn't really tell us a lot of good stuff, but there it does show us pictures of it and shows us the whole shebang. Number 5, oil dipstick assembly, but that shows that on the back, and I think it's really that thing on the front. So it may well have a dipstick on that plug that we could take out and see what's what. I guess another fun thing is I'm going to start getting eaten up by mosquitoes. Oh, here we go. Main troubles and their disposal. Yeah. Okay. So I think where we're going next is we are going to pull this plug and see if it in fact has a dipstick on and see if it in fact has any oil in it. And if we can't see any or find any, then the next thing we were going to do anyway is pull the drain plug on the thing and see what kind of nasty watery oil comes out of there. Square-headed plug, I'm betting adjustable wrench is the tool we need. And I just happen to have this giant adjustable wrench right here handy. And it's not even tight. Why? That doesn't make sense. That's almost like somebody's had this off and done maintenance to it. That can't be. Look, there is oil in there. It's not enough. That's a good thing. That might mean maybe the only trouble we have is that it's low on oil. Like if I do it that way, there's nothing. If I screw it all the way down, let's screw it all the way down. Nothing. So the only reason that had oil hanging on that stick probably was from when I moved it and jarred it around. So our first order of business is going to be hunting up some hydraulic oil. However, I think for educational purposes here, it might be cool if I could take that plug out for a second, you know, gently by hand and see if water comes out. You know what I'm saying? Like the oil is separated and there might be a little water in the bottom. If it all looks instantly clean, then I don't see a reason to drain that out just yet. I would like to fill up oil in it and see it lift a little bit. And if we can get that done, then perhaps we can pursue further, you know, avenues of does it have filter on it somewhere or something. I don't think it does. Looking at it, does it have one? I mean, I don't see where it would be because those steel lines that go into that lift housing come right up here to the pump area and bolt right to the pumps. So yeah, I'm gonna get the little half. That's probably all I can get in there since this is racked up with weights like we're going tractor pulling. But I'll get one of those jugs I've cut the tops out of and put it there and then pull that plug. And we'll just give it a look-see to see if it looks milky or what it's gonna be. This is gonna be about impossible to know where that's gonna go if I take it out all the way. Like, and I probably should also hold back on that tube somehow with something else, because it's never, that kind of acts to me like that's never been out of there. So I probably need to find whatever closest size wrench I have in metric to this and jam that on one part and put the other on the other part. See if we can even get it open. If we can't, we'll just forget it. Pour oil in and go. Oh, so close. 7/8 ain't it. So we'll try 15/16. That'll be too big. Then we'll find some metric maybe. Please fit. Please. Can't we just play metric friends? Maybe I want to put this one on there. Yeah. And then put this gigantic thing on here. Let's tighten that up a little. That is a dumb design, friends. I know what they wanted to do. They wanted to get it out where you could work on it, but the way that's designed, I bet a lot of people twisted that off, because a lot of people aren't patient enough to go get. Okay, is everybody happy now that we're on the ground? A lot of people would not be patient enough to go get the second wrench. Let's see what comes out of here. Oh, that looks good. There's no water in there at all. And with good reason. It's got kind of some schmutz in it though, doesn't it? Well, this was a fail, wasn't it? There we go. Yeah, it's empty. There's nothing in there. So pay no mind to the water globules in the drain pan, because this pan had water in it. But what I'm getting at here is the oil coming out of this is pretty clean. So I'm saying that the problem with the tractor is it has no oil in it. And I wish I could say this was the first time that I've been called to work on something that was simply out of oil. I don't like that it's, look at how it's dropping those black chunks of stuff out of there. What is that? Well, I can't even catch one now. Let's hold my hand under the cancerous oil. Yeah, see those black chunks? There went one. What is that? Is that coating from the inside of the hydraulic unit that they used? And it's leaving a mess on in the oil. So that's one thing. Let's just let that drip drain there for a little bit, because I think as much that we can get out of there, the better. The next thing I want to find out, because like I said, I'd like to get a hold of one of those chunks to see how easily it breaks up into nothing. I think it breaks up pretty easy into nothing. And what I'm getting at, because I know my train of thought is very ADD, but if that stuff would hold together, then it's possible that it could have plugged something up on its journey. But I don't think so. I think that the real struggle here is that we just have no oil in it. So even though I really would look forward to looking at main troubles and their disposal, I don't really want to read all this, but I would like to find, let's look at this picture again and see if there's anything that has a screen. That's what I wanted to see. Screen core assembly 22. Right? So that's where I'm wanting to go next before pouring oil in, if this thing really is made that way. But see, what's on the picture isn't on the hydraulic unit. There is no round opening that's take-offable. On the Fiat, some of them, it's down from the top. I don't see that. I see nothing. I know nothing. Nothing. No, I don't. I really don't. I really see nothing. I don't see any anything that I could take out that would possibly be a screen. Thereby, I don't know how much it's worth it to go investigating, you know. Yeah, I don't know. All right, book, you're going away. Now the hardest part is I'm going to have to hunt around here, because I don't think that I have any hydraulic oil on hand, and probably definitely not that much. I know I should, but it seems like I'm always using it for something and it never gets replaced. So let me hunt around and see. I mean, even if I had half of a bucket, that should be enough to get into the stuff and maybe make something happen, so that we know we're on the right track, because I mean, look at us, friends. We had nothing, but we had no oil. And so what's going to happen then, more than likely, is get oil in there, and then we're going to also have air in there, and we're going to have to work to get that up out of there. And then the next thing could be, if they ran it too low of oil or with not enough oil in it long enough, they could quite possibly have burned up these hydraulic pumps, and they're not going to go. Now this one of them is for the steering, and it has its own separate jobby we discovered last time, which does in fact have oil in it, but it is very milky, nasty oil. And I can't even get that off of there now, but that seems to me like a secondary issue at this point. Like, first we want to get everything working, and then we'll worry about the power steering, because the tractor is essentially useless now. It has no hydraulics of any kind, and a loader tractor with no hydraulics ain't no fun. It's also sad here, these remote hose setup, they're totally locked up. They are tight. That one I got a little movement out of, but yeah, they're probably not doing too good. And I don't really know that is a cross valve though, isn't it? Well, that's interesting. Makes me wonder how that is plumbed up, and we will have to investigate that. You know, how did they tie into the hydraulic system to make that valve work? I see the hose going up underneath of there. I don't know where it's going into a steel line. Okay, so does it run through that valve? It does. Okay. They got like a double Power Beyond setup going here. The hydraulics are running through this valve to get to the loader valve. They come up here and they loop around with way too long hoses. They go through this valve, and then this should go to the pump somewhere it should go to the pump, this bottom one. Yeah, that goes to the pump. So the pressure, see, pressure goes up here through the valve, right? So it would go through the loader valve first, then it goes through this valve, then it goes down there to that steel line at the bottom, and then it returns to reservoir, question mark. It would come up to this one, I believe, which would make sense because the suction is the bigger line, so that's coming from the other side. So I get it now. I get it. What it's doing is they teed into the pressure, so it comes from the pump, it goes through this valve, it goes through this valve, then it goes back here and it feeds the 3-point hitch. Okay, so you can clearly see then there is a lot of opportunities for things to leak that could have caused it to run out all its oil. However, I don't see any signs of leaking on here, but we don't know that they didn't wash it up at some point or do something before I got it, so that I don't know exactly how it really was looking. But if we start to have struggles where we can't get something or another, one thing we can do is start bypassing valves until we see what's what, you know. This one ain't doing them no favors. We could bypass it totally right now if we had to, but let's first get oil in it and see if that makes it come to life. And like I said, I may have to bring you back in another day when I have time to run to town, because I doubt it on a Saturday night at about 8 or 9 o'clock that they're going to have any hydraulic oil for sale in town, but I might be wrong. But it would be better to just wait, probably. All right, I think I found enough oil, so we're going to try to put some in here. The other day, my uncle said, I saw you were struggling with putting oil in something. He said, do you have any use for this little fluid measure thing? And I said, absolutely. He said, I haven't used that thing in 30 years, so he said, you can just have it. And I said, that sounds awesome. We had one of these when I worked in the shop, and it is a lot handier for putting oil in, especially if you're like in a cab. And that's probably why he bought it, because he owned that 200 that Dad owns now. And there's stuff you have to fill in the floor, and it's not real handy to try to put a whole 5-gallon bucket in there. It's going to be hard for me to see what I'm doing. I know I'm spilling some now, aren't I? A little bit, but if your opening was big enough, you know, this would help you out a lot. It's still helping us out a lot. It's just I gotta watch what I'm doing. I have to add more. I drained out not even a gallon out of there. What was in that little cutoff thing a minute ago, I took out of there and put the drain plug back in, you see. Yeah, we ain't even anywhere close, so let's go get another jug full and we'll try that. Oh, you. I knew you'd going too fast. I am spilling less than I would spill if I was using a whole 5-gallon bucket, so take comfort in that, friends. It's actually out here eerily silent. It's supposed to rain, and it sounds like there is no harvesters rolling anywhere around here. Of course, they probably pretty well all got the early stuff done. Let's see if we get any by screwing this down. I'd like to just get it enough where we can proof of concept it, so that if we have to drain it all out again, we're not just wasting oil. But I think it ought to be fluid on the stick just by setting it in there myself. I still don't think we have any. Let's add another one. I did just have a thought, which could be a bad thing too, but what we're doing here is going to prove out that theory. What if there's a hole in whatever kind of pan divides this from the transmission, and that's why they didn't notice any leaking. It was slowly leaking into the transmission, and now the transmission is super duper over full. So we'll know that if this oil, if we don't get anywhere here, because I mean, if 3 gallons doesn't show up on that stick, I don't know. I kind of feel like that ought to be noticeable. So that is a possibility. And then what we can do is, if we do get this to work, we're going to check it on the dipstick, and we're going to let it sit a day or two, and we're going to check it again, and we're going to see if it went down just sitting here not running. I'm getting too excited now. I think we got her full. I think that's what I think it's a little too full now, but I'm assuming that there's probably air in it, so let's not freak out yet. We might have to drain some of that out, but let's see if we can get it running and cycle it if we can. If we can get it running and we can get hydraulics now, we're going to lift it up and down and do all kinds of functions, and then we're going to try it or check it again and make sure what we got. All right, little Rhino, please work. You would make me so happy if the only thing wrong with you was no oil. Let's make sure it's in neutral. I got nothing. Nothing again. Come on. That starter, I don't know. I think it's a voltage suck. Oh, it's working. The 3-point just came up. Only thing wrong with it was it didn't have oil in it. That's kind of funny, but not really. I don't have any bucket curl. Come on, there we go. Air in it. Remember, friends, if you own a tractor, don't forget to check the simple stuff first. Because if you've got to pay me to work on it, and it's something like this, you've still got to pay, even if it's not anything drastic. Does it not have down, I bet, does it not have down pressure, or are they too short, or does it have air in it? It might be that they're too short. You can see it twitch, but it doesn't. Well, that's sweet. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's put this seatbelt back in the place where obviously they use it. Boy, that works great. I don't think there's much more I can do to it to make it better. Well, there we go. I guess we did still have air in it. Well, friends, I am very tempted to take this back as quickly as possible, because I don't want it around here, because I don't really want to dig into trying to find parts for it. It appears at first blush that the only thing wrong with it was they didn't check the oil in the hydraulics, and that'll get you every time. Put oil in it and it comes right to life. It appears, okay, after cycling it, is that, I can't tell if that's a piece of metal or if that's the oil level, but it needs more oil. So maybe we're not done yet, you know, maybe we're in the fact-finding stages, and maybe it is, our trouble is that the reservoir is leaking. Although I assume that it's probably, it holds more than what I put in it, and the reason that it, you know what I'm saying. I cycled all the hydraulics and filled everything with oil, and now I'm down. I have just a little bit on there. All right, so this is good news, because this means that we're not, hopefully not going to have to dig much farther. So I did not check anything there because that was not my instructions. My instructions were come get this tractor and take it home and fix it. And that was the instructions I got. And then since it wouldn't run, we had to figure that out. I don't know what we figured out on that, but it is running. It is lifting now. So basically, we're going to get enough oil to top it off so that it's got all the oil it should. We're going to check it a couple days and make sure it's not leaking away internally. Also, we should probably change our power steering oil, because it is very milky. I can guarantee you that. We looked in it the other day, so we might ought to drain that and change it. But I am very happy for what I'm seeing so far, because it looks like we're going to have hydraulics. So that's a win. Change some fluid and take it back as quick as we can so that it's out of our lives, because I don't want to go hunting for more problems, because I'm sure I'll find them, and I don't want to. If it lifts and pushes dirt and stuff like that, then that's what they want, and they can have all the fun they can stand. So anywho, that's what I'm thinking, and I think we're going to leave this one here. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.